What's going on, guys? We still don't have a catchphrase out here, but hopefully one of these days we'll come up with a great one. Today's video hopefully won't be as long as yesterday's, but if it does start getting a bit long, I'll cut it in half. So we'll have two sections. And the main goal is going to be to show some of the new things I brought in from the US. These are all sorts of really all over the place. Some sealed things, graded cards, um, really small, like less than $1 cards from claim sales, um, cards for grading in the future, that kind of thing. But really a lot of stuff that we just don't get here or would be really hard to find here. So we'll start right off with an art set of Shining Legends. Obviously the fourth one in the background over there. I know we did have these, but obviously as soon as they started getting popular, they really disappeared, and I think most people just opened all of these. Yeah, definitely going to keep these sealed. Might even get the packs graded because really, what incredible art. And I think I am almost complete with the full set of Shinings from there anyway. I'm not sure what the odds are of getting one in a pack, but we might open some in the future. Next will just be a really random stack. I'm not going to spend too much time going through each and every card, but if there's something interesting, then I might tell you a little bit more about it. I'll also try and maybe, if it's not too common, say exactly where it's from. So here we got some Hidden Fates, the baby shinies. And then this is Japanese Fossil. So despite how old these are, you can still pick them up, especially in the US claim sales, for pretty cheap and in really good condition. I haven't had too close a look at most of these yet. I'm probably saving some for a grading guide video in the future. I've been threatening to make for like months now. But yeah, as you can see, I think there's some markings on the sleeve, but the card itself is really clean. This was a random gift that someone chucked in. You'll see later in the video there's a little pile of gifts somewhere. A lot of the US sellers, especially in the claim sales, and especially when you spend way too much money, tend to chuck in a little bit extra. Don't ask me how much money. Um, I am not sure what this is, but I will research it, and if I remember to and bother to, you'll see it on the screen now. Some more Japanese Fossil. Then I grabbed two of these. Really love this card, and it's still weirdly affordable. I think the pre-release version of this is actually cheaper, if I'm not mistaken, than the normal version. Moving on to English Fossil. In terms of affordability, even when you take into account how much the cards cost and then shipping in the US to our middleman, which was pretty cheap, shipping it here and then paying customs, the prices are really super affordable. Um, most US people will charge sort of TCG low or something to that effect. So you really can get a lot of things, especially on the claim sales. A couple of the cards I'm about to show you were maybe $1, some even less, like a bundle of cards for $1. Like this here, I believe was just $1, and it's really one of the nicest Pokeball arts I've ever seen. I will go through these quickly. Just a couple of dollar cards. This is from Hard Gold Soul Silver, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know the sets within there, whether it's base or something later, but really I think this era is one of the best artworks for commons and non-hollow cards. Obviously this is a hollow card, you can barely see it, but they put so much effort in to each and every card. I think it's really a nice set to collect for the long term. I'm not too sure exactly what this is. It looks like a Topps card. I'm not sure if it's fake, but someone just chucked it in. This is one of the XY promos. I really try and pick these up whenever I can because when you look at the black and white era promos, a lot of those have shot up to crazy prices. For example, the black and white promo Eevee and Mew, I think it's BW 87 or 97, somewhere within that range, over 1,000 Rand each, depending on what you use to price. I'm not sure if the same will happen to the XY promos, but some of them are definitely getting there. Prime card. Also one of the really nice vintage cards that you can still pick up for quite cheap. They haven't really seen the massive price increase that most sets have just yet, except for some obviously like Eevee Prime, no, not Eevee Prime, Espeon Prime and Umbreon Prime. And this is a Hollow Energy from, I think, EX Emerald, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of those, in fact, I think all of those were from claim sales. I think we've discussed how those work in the group, and if not, then I will post a little bit something about them. But essentially, someone's posting a lot of cards at once, usually for cheaper prices, and then you try and claim them as quickly as you can before other people do at that price. So you get a lot of deals, and one question a few people have asked me when I've mentioned it is, is it safe or trustworthy, and at the end of the day, when you're paying with PayPal goods and services, you really can't go wrong. But I'd really say a lot of the sellers over there are very trustworthy. So out of more than 20 individual purchases, here are the only 2 cards that I'm unhappy with. This one was too quick a purchase. I thought I was scoring a hollow first edition muck, but it obviously isn't. A lot of sellers will put the condition on the sleeve. And I can't remember what this next one was bought as. I definitely wouldn't have bought it if it was labeled as what it should have been, damaged with a ding like that. But yeah, overall really can't go too wrong. Right, next we're getting into something a little bit more interesting. So I'll probably spend a little bit more time showing off these. Because as I'm sure you can see, a lot of these were a little bit more than $1. But don't tell the person sitting next to me. I'll have to edit it out of my memory. But yeah, still, compared to what you'd buy them for here or what people would try and charge you for here, really very affordable. Especially when you're picking up just 1 or 2 cards. And a lot of these cards, since I bought them, have gone way up. So really no regrets here. First edition Team Rocket, or yeah, Rocket Returns. I'll throw it up on the screen. Dark Gyarados. Blaine's Arcanine. Definitely one that's going straight for grading. Centering is obviously not perfect, but just a beautiful, beautiful card. A sealed Magikarp promo. So, as I'm sure I've mentioned, you can get these graded still in these, they're referred to as cello packs, as long as the pack is in good condition. But with a lot of them, you might just want to take out and then hope that the pack has kept it in really good condition for grading. This here is Morty's Gengar. Really, really nice card. Pity they didn't make it holographic, but still, beautiful artwork. And the Japanese first edition stamp over there. I'm sure a lot of you will recognize that new promo from the pin boxes. This here is one of the, I'm sure you'll recognize the promos that we don't get. I mean, typically that the whole Western world doesn't get, but definitely not us out here in South Africa. This is Pretend Boss Pikachu, I think the name is. As you can see, he's pretending to be a boss and doing a really great job. If we can say so. Really, really unique holo pattern on this. It sort of reminds me of the fake cards, especially the old fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards that you used to get, with that sort of star holo pattern. But the way they've done this and the way the holo foil works is really feels quite premium. And this one is still sealed, so I'll likely keep it like this or try and get it graded sealed. With a lot of those promos, as you'll see some now, like this one here, when they come out in Japan, they're surprisingly affordable. And then when the rest of the world, the Western world, catches on, the price skyrockets. Unfortunately, I didn't get these before the price skyrocketed, but hopefully, hopefully before they skyrocket again, presumably in the future. This is Pretend Magikarp, or Magikarp Poncho Pikachu. Absolutely incredible set of these. I'll throw some pictures up, but obviously there's the Pretend Gyarados, Pretend Rayquaza, 2 types, Pretend Charizard, and a couple of others which escape me now. Really expensive set to collect, but definitely one of the nicest modern cards. Neolugia, in my opinion, one of the nicest older cards, and quite good condition too. Definitely paid quite a premium for getting it in this condition, but well worthwhile. If it could get maybe, well, with centering like this, I guess best case a 9, but then assuming there's some light scratching, whitening, maybe 7 or 8. Misdreavus. Really incredible colors on this card. And here's some really interesting ones. First edition Neo Genesis Jumpler. Also mint. First edition Kabutops. And then this is a Mew from the Japanese Radiant Collection, or Mythical Collection, I think it's called. All right, so this, when I talk about free gifts, you're not expecting anything too crazy, but I really like it when sellers chuck in a little something extra, um, especially when it takes months to get to me out here. Obviously, while the package and cards build up. Yeah, so just a nice little bonus. I'll quickly go through these. All right, just a couple more things to go. Definitely last but not least, starting off with one of the nicest promo cards I have ever seen. And I know it's been 2 videos now, and every third card I say is the nicest I've ever seen. And I'm really starting to think I might have a problem with these things. So this is a Japanese exclusive. Obviously still sealed, really how you want to get these. Super tempting one to open out of here and grade, that's for sure. With the Japanese quality and being protected by the cello pack, I'd really love to have this in a slab, but we'll see. We've got very similar to our pre-release promos here. Next, something I'm sure you'll all recognize. A ton of Ancient Muse, because when you can grab them, why not? Lastly, one of the nicest purchases of the whole, I don't know what to call it, whether you call it a buying period or package.
Our bankruptcy.
Our bankruptcy. 3 of the Munch or the Scream promos. We have Rowlet, Psyduck, who I hate, and Eevee. Definitely one of the nicest ones. A very, very expensive non-holo promo that was given out for attending, I believe, an art museum, something to that effect. Again, something that started out super, super affordable, and really just took off. Definitely something to invest in for the long-term future, and obviously exponentially more expensive when graded. All right, part 2 of our Package from America segment. A whole mix of different cards and genres. One of the things that I really like in the US is you can pick up some PSA 10s of really obscure cards. Maybe some of the things where people will be like, why did you grade that? For pretty cheap, between $10 and $20, sometimes even less, but not too common. So here's a 2009 Holo Electrode G. This next one is a movie commemorative promo Celebi from 2007. Next one's a little bit more modern. A PSA 10 Misty from a Trainer Battle deck. Getting a little bit less cheap, but still pretty affordable. PSA 10s of the baby shinies from Hidden Fates. Still fairly cheap dependingly. I think the Eevee is very expensive, but cards like these still the $20 to $30 range, at least when I bought this. Also, really love the color change on Zorua in its shiny form. PSA 9 on the Ray promo from the Hidden Fates Premium Collection. I'm fairly sure that this was just from the centering. And then from the same or a similar set, the Solgaleo, again centering. The next stack is taking it back quite far, all the way to 1999. So we've got a base set Poliwrath in PSA 9. one of my favorite artworks, and I think one of the most underrated artworks from the set. Definitely not an underrated one. Gyarados, PSA 9 again. I'll see if we can have a look and maybe tell why it got a PSA 9. Probably from that in the corner. Another Gyarados, this time the pre-release promo in a 9. You'll notice that quite a few of these, especially the older ones, are 9s, because usually they're pretty much the same as a 10, but without the exponential price increase. Sometimes even with a chance of regrading to a 10. It's really, really nice to add to a collection and have something that is graded mint without having to pay an arm and a leg for each individual card. Here's another really nice one. Quite a subtle artwork, but the Scyther from Jungle this time. Getting into something a little bit more interesting, we have a first edition PSA 8 Kabutops from Fossil. And then similarly, a PSA 9 Haunter first edition from Fossil. Now just need to find the Gengar, which I'm sure won't be as affordable as this one. And now some additions to the ever-expanding Mew collection. We've got a Mew Prime from Heart Gold Soul Silver Triumphant in a PSA 9. Quite hard to get the holo pattern to pick up, but once you do, really, really nice artwork. And then a stamped reverse or parallel holo from EX Legend Maker. And then finally, definitely one of my new favorites. So the equivalent of the English Mew Prime, the Mew from Lost Link in a PSA 10. I believe this is a pop of 15 in the world. To end it off, we're getting to the big hitters of the package. We've got a first edition Pichu from Neo Genesis in a PSA 9. Following that, a Shining Celebi in a PSA 8.
That's a Groot. You can't tell me anything different.
Sorry guys, does anyone have a pen? This is apparently a Shining Groot. I'm just going to have to make some alterations here. And last, but definitely not least, my first BGS card. This is the Charizard 276XYP promo. Obviously a Japanese exclusive, and like I always say, one of my favorite modern cards. Really just such incredible artwork on this. The whole design and style really couldn't be better suited to a BGS case as well. In terms of holding it in the hand, I definitely prefer the PSA cases, just because I prefer the rounded corners. But in terms of looks, it really, really looks and does feel a lot more premium. And to have a card like this, in this case, really makes you understand why you would go for an option like this when you're choosing a grading service. As you can see here, we got subgrades to explain why it got the overall grade of 9.5. So a 10 on the centering, 9.5 on the corners, 9.5 on the edges, and a 10 on the surface. So I think one of those subgrades being higher, being a 10, would have made it overall a 10, and then both of them being a 10 would have made it a black label. Okay, And I think that's it for the graded cards. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll definitely have another one of these in a couple of months when the next package arrives. And yeah, I hope to see you all again for future openings and whatever else we decide to do on the channel. Cheers.